It's the opportunity of a lifetime. Vacant land along Wadsworth near Old Town became available when we built the transit hub for commuter rail. Now, after years of planning, it's taking shape and we are excited. Joining me today is Bill Mosher, head of Trammell Crow Company of Colorado. Bill, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Mayor. Pleasure to be here.
Bill, you've got an exciting number of projects going on right now as a result of some work we did in terms of taking a piece of land that was a parking lot and turning it into something magnificent. Tell us first about the apartments.
Well, first off, we're really thrilled to finally be under construction on these three projects right next to the transit hub. And they're former RTD parking lots, and we're doing 250 multifamily units in the first phase that's under construction today.
That's really neat, and you're trying to make those as affordable as you can by some of the sizing and things of that nature, correct?
Yes, we have quite a variety of unit sizes, unit types. We have two-story townhomes, we have walk-ups, we have studios, we have 1 and 2 bedroom units. We have all kinds of different view corridors that the units have, so it's a very interesting project. It'll be interesting for people to decide which unit they want.
And part of that project involves you've got some park and lots of trees on that property, correct?
Yeah, interestingly, through your process, both working with the community and through the city codes, we ended up at about 33% open space, which is well more than you generally have on most of these kind of projects. And if you consider our courtyards, where we have a swimming pool and then just reflective areas, it's about 60% of the site is actually open and not constructed upon. And we have a dog park and park along Wads with new trees that will be going in, and then we're replacing and even extending the tree grove that was along the railroad tracks. We've got about 190-foot setback from Grandview, and so we're repopulating that with more trees than were there originally. And then we have what's called Via Park along Vance. It's about a 45-foot setback. That's a park area that fronts these two-story townhomes, and so there's a big setback from the transit center and from Vance. So it's a nice park area. So we've got three sides of really cool open space.
And speaking of the townhomes and two-story, you really went through a lot of effort to make sure that the views along Grandview could be maintained, right?
Well, the number one thing we heard from the community, as you well know, you heard more than I did, is that they wanted to preserve as much of the Grandview views as possible. And so we set the buildings back, as I said. Then we only did 2 stories, so there's actually a 75-foot setback from Vance that is under 2 stories, which is lower than the Grandview elevation. And then we reduced the height along Grandview in a couple areas from 4-story to 3-story to provide extra views to the range, to the mountain range. So we have all sorts of building heights and setbacks and open spaces, and I think it creates a really distinctive, different looking, varied skyline for the building that will help mitigate that view impact.
Well, thank you for doing that. When you were selected for this project, and it was a tedious process to be selected as the developer of this, one of the requirements was that this was going to be a mixed-use site. And the mixed use is pretty darn exciting of what you're doing here. Let's talk about the hotel first.
Yeah, we've got 128-room Marriott Residence Inn. We hope to be under construction in August to September timeframe. It's not easy to finance hotels right now, given the impact of COVID, but it's really a great design that we worked again with the community and city council and city planning, and it's Aura, and it is 4 stories, and it wraps the site along both Vance and 56th, so it's right on the street. And it's going to be a Marriott Residence Inn, and we hope if it can get under construction this fall, it will finish about the same time as the residences.
That's absolutely wonderful. You know, we were told that, we had a heck of a fight to get our first hotel, and they said the second one would be easier. That was pre-COVID, but the fact that the first one's done so well made this a more attractive site for hotel folks as they wanted to look at future building, correct?
Yes, I mean, for sure the Hilton Garden Inn's success, and it has been successful even during COVID, has been relatively successful, has really helped us We are closer to Wadsworth than that hotel, so there will be views of the hotel from Wadsworth, and I think that will help from a drive-by standpoint. Catty corner from the transit center and a block from Old Town. I mean, it's a great site. It'll do very well, and having the 252 units across the street just means that there's residents whose parents and relatives and friends will have a place to stay.
That's great. And speaking of that, from the perspective of both the hotel and the apartment complex, that's a lot of folks who are going to come up into Old Town and throughout Arvada to shop, to dine, to enjoy the amenities that we have.
For sure, we are, one of the really good feedback we got from the Old Town merchants was connecting our swimming pool courtyard, which is at the northwest section closest to Grandview, to Old Town so that people didn't have to go up the hill of Vance to get into Old Town. I don't know why we didn't think about it because it's fairly obvious, but there's going to be a really cool walkway, and people will be able to walk across the courtyard, go up a little tiny bit of the hill onto a plaza at Grandview and Vance, and go right into Old Town. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible for the residents to use Old Town, and we are selling Old Town. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Old Town.
One of the neat aspects, and the third aspect of this project, are the restaurants that you're going to have. This is pretty doggone exciting. Tell us about those.
Yeah, we have 15,000 square feet of retail on Wadsworth at the corner of Wadsworth and 56th, and they're all 20-foot buildings. So we've got one-story building, four-story building. We got all these different heights in this, and they're all built on the street up to 56. So it's going to appear very kind of urban. Which Aura's, the Urban Renewal Authority's goal was, and the City Council's goal. And the retail, we started marketing during COVID, and we thought this is going to be the last thing to happen. And we are one space shy of full lease out. So in the front building, we have Snooze and Smashburger. Both of them, we were able to incorporate a lot of outdoor space and a lot of patio space, which is a big deal now in the post-COVID era. And then the south buildings, we've got Cava, which is a Mediterranean restaurant, and Perry's Pizza and Tap House. So we have 4 now, and we've got one in final 5th restaurant in lease negotiations, but it serves breakfast, it serves lunch, it serves the evenings, lots of outdoor space, and it's one of the things that convinced the hotel to come to that site, and they didn't have to incorporate any retail into the hotel, which they did not want to do. So it will be good for the residents of the apartments, it'll be good for the hotel patrons, and it's right on Wadsworth, so it'll pick up a lot of Arvada residents.
Bill, people are always concerned about parking. Do you think you've got adequate parking on all of this project site?
What's interesting about this site, the community's been concerned about parking, obviously, but so have we. There's no parking on 56th. We're down the hill. There's no parking on Wadsworth, and there's no parking on Vance. So one of our concerns, probably similar to the community, is we needed to make sure we had enough parking on site in the building, particularly for the residences, to accommodate our apartments. And so we're a little bit above code in terms of the requirement from Arvada, and we're roughly 1 parking space per unit. So I think we've got adequate parking, more than adequate parking. And then from the retail standpoint, there's a big storm sewer that goes through the middle of the site, so we had to do surface parking there, and we've got really good parking on the hotel and retail site. We're 1 space per room on the Residence Inn, and then we're almost 6 per 1,000, so we're about 90 spaces, 84 spaces, I think, total on the retail. So we've exceeded the city's minimum requirement, and most notably for us is our retail is really excited about the parking, the hotel's very satisfied, and we think the residences will have the sufficient parking.
Well, thanks for listening to those parking concerns.
Sure, they are always there.
Bill, this has been a long process for all of us who have been involved in this, and I want to congratulate you for having the stick-to-itiveness, the tenacity to see this through. We are really excited for what this is going to do for our community, and I thank you for your hard work.
Well, it took us 7 years to get under construction, as you well know, and it was quite a process, but we knew coming into it that it was a tough site, 35-foot hill, Wadsworth, the transit center, Old Town, the historic issues, all the interest that people had in this site. And I think that all the input that we've gotten has had a great impact on the design, and we're really excited about it. And frankly, Mayor, tough sites that are really good sites are worth it. And
Well,
it'll be worth it for us, and I know it'll be worth it for the community.
thank you so much. We really appreciate what you're doing to make our transit-oriented development truly be what we wanted it to be.
You bet. We're happy to be here. Thank you.
So with that, we look forward to this development coming together. Stay tuned. It's going to be incredible. Thank you.